Hey everybody, it's just a little morning wake up. I'm feeding the fish, making the donuts, and I thought I would just get my camera out and film for a little while. Of course, we get to see my striped Raphael out. He's getting so fat now that he's having trouble getting in and out. I'm going to have to really get in there and do some work on this tank. It's probably going to be on my agenda today. I've been actually putting off doing some work in this tank. But what I'm really hoping to see is my Red Tail Loach. You can see my gold Gourami hiding over there in the corner. The Red Tail Loach is still in the tank. I did actually see it yesterday. And it's a fairly large loach. I've only got it on film a few times. It's very reclusive, and it's not gregarious at all. I've been shooting some videos here talking about these skunk loaches lately. And you know, all the books say the skunk loaches are pretty aggressive and they kind of recommend staying away from them, especially in community tanks. That has not been my experience, but I have had some of my viewers indicate that that has been their experience. And so far, I don't really think I've had anybody come out and say that they've shared my experience with these skunks being non-aggressive. So I will tend to err to the side of caution and stop recommending the skunks to people so much. But the Red Tail Loach, I know, is an aggressive loach. I did not at the time. I was under the impression that all loaches were gregarious, and I noticed he was not, and I kind of scratched my head. I just thought I had an oddball loach that didn't like company, you know, and he was sort of nasty and mean, and he nipped at other fish, and he kept to himself. And I was talking to a guy at a fish store one day, a guy that worked there, but he actually used to own his own store back in the day. And he just made a casual offhand comment about, I said something about loaches being friendly, and he laughed and said something about those red tails or not those red tails or something like that. So apparently he had some personal experience with it. And when we got into a little bit of a brief discussion about it, he reassured me that yes, the red tail loaches are not a loach for everybody. It's not one you want to put in a community tank. And they also get fairly large. I thought they topped out at about 6 inches. Apparently they top out at about 10. So that will be a very large animal in this tank, especially if he's not a friendly animal. So I will be doing something about that at some point here in the future, I'm sure. I'm not going to leave a very large, aggressive animal in the tank. But so far, as long as nobody bothers him, he doesn't bother anybody else. It's not like he comes out and cruises the tank looking for trouble. I only see him really get nippy when he's out and about and he's trying to get some food. If any other fish get near him, he sort of nips at them. But he's never out. He always hides. He has a cave back there, and I'm saying he arbitrarily. It's not really even a cave. It's just kind of he lies on the bottom behind those rocks back there, and there's no way for me to actually see him where he's positioned. So unless he decides he wants to have a swim around the tank, I never get to see him. And his swims around the tank usually consist of him darting out, you know, zooming through my line of sight and then back into the caves and gone again. It's definitely one of those situations where if I'm not filming when it happens, we're not going to get it on film. It's, you know, I just have to get lucky and catch it. So I figure if I sit here and ramble on long enough, it might happen. But of course, that's never the way. I'm no doubt that when I set the camera down, after saying, oh well, I guess this is just going to be a little general video of my Gourami tank, I'm of course going to see him dart out and zip across the room. You know, the inside of the fish tank, not this room. That would be a feat indeed. So I do have another tank that I'm setting up, and I don't know what I want to put in it. It's a 40-gallon breeder. It used to be my native tank, but it's going to be something else now, and I have no idea what yet. It's possible, I suppose, that loach could go in there, although that's extremely unlikely. I'm not one for particularly aggressive fish. Oh, I saw some movement back there, and it turns out it's just another one of those skunks. I'm not one for particularly aggressive fish. I'm not into, you know, keeping fish that are so precariously, you know, situated in a tank that any little change causes violence to outbreak or fish to become injured and that sort of thing. So if I get the opportunity to get him out of the tank safely, that's probably going to be it. He's just going to go right down to the fish store and get turned in for credit. I really don't plan on keeping it. It's an absolutely beautiful loach. Its body is this sort of shimmery grayish blue, It's kind of hard to explain. I have actually seen these listed as blue loaches, so it is a very bluish green, shimmery, sort of iridescent color, and then all of its fins are a bright red. Very, very pretty loach, but just not friendly at all, and not very outgoing either. Again, I rarely ever see it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I didn't realize it's already been over 5 minutes, and I've got to continue making my rounds, getting my other tanks fed and that sort of thing. So I'm going to get on with my morning, and hope you enjoyed this little brief look once again at my Gourami tank. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. And I promise one of these days I will get some video of that Red Tail Loach, even if it's the day I'm in there trying to fish him out to take him back to the fish store. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.